Hello, children. Good morning. How are you? Hope you all are fine and sound. Okay, very good. Now, welcome to your social studies class. This is your second session of your social studies class. We have already completed the chapter, The Sources of History. Now, we will do some revision work. Turn to page 16. Okay. The sources of history. Now, first, what we have to know, what are clues? Clues are hint or a piece of evidence from which we find the solution. Historians get to know about the past from the clues. Now, if there are many sources or many clues, that means we get a full picture of that time. But if there are some clues, we get to know some ideas of that time. So clues are very important. Now we'll go to the next page. What do we see here? What are the main sources of history? What are they? Coins, number 1. Number 2, artifacts and monuments. Number 3, written material. Number 4, oral sources. Number 1, coins. Coins give a lot of information. The name or picture on a coin tells historians which ruler or king had made that coin. Second point, the date tells when he ruled. Third point, the writing on the coin tells which language was used at that time. And if the coin were made of silver or gold, that means the kingdom was wealthy. The earliest coins were not very well made, but now coin making got better over centuries. Our next point is artifact and monuments. Things made and used by earlier people are called artifacts. Example are household goods, things made of clay like dishes or toys, jewelry and coins are some artifacts that we have found. And the study of such artifacts and of the buildings of earlier times is known as archaeology. And those who are expert in archaeology are called archaeologists. Now, from artifacts, the archaeologists learn how the people lived in that time. Like here you have the picture of the clay toy from ancient Greece. This tells archaeologists that the people knew how to use clay and to make toys. They also guess that the people may have had vehicles with wheels because the wheel is there in the picture. Yes. Sometimes the artifacts were buried under the ground and the archaeologists dug them out very carefully. Then there were historical buildings called monuments. We learn a great deal from such monuments. The Taj Mahal, the pyramids are some of the monuments. Then we come to know about the written records or the writing materials from the early times. Sometimes these are in a language called Sanskrit that people could read. Many ancient books are written in Sanskrit. Then sometimes there were also other languages which people could not read. They are still trying to read this language. Now sometimes a king or someone else in his court wrote about his rule. In this way we came to know about Akbar and Babur. We came to know about Babur from Baburnama. Then there was a person called Hiuen Tsang who came to India from China. He came to study Buddhism and he wrote a lot of things which he saw about India. And from his writing, we get a lot of information about India at that time. Then there were people who were not rulers, who wrote about their lives or about the times in which they lived. In this way also we came to know about our India's history of the past. Then many visitors came to India and wrote about the past, and we came to know from their writings also. Then there were religious books which gave us some idea of the earlier times, like the Vedas are Hindu religious books written by our earlier people called the Aryans. From the Vedas, we come to know about the life of the Aryans. Then there were written records which were found on stones, rocks, or metals. These are called inscription. We have learnt about the great Indian ruler Ashoka through such inscriptions. Our last source is the oral sources. Sources like songs, poems, and folk tales tells us about the people's lives or of historical events. From these, historians learn about things which may not be found in written records. That is, there were no such writings. We just came to know from the songs, from the poems, or some stories. Now, why should we preserve these historical sources? Every source tells us a story. So, archaeologists and historians get a picture of the people and events of the past. That is why we should take care of all these historical sources. So we come to the end of this chapter. I hope you have understood. Thank you.